Hello YouTube, Film Buff 06 here. Based on common knowledge that of course Doctor Who is celebrating its 50th anniversary today with the Day of the Doctor in just under 4 hours time, I just thought that this would be the right time to do a review / super rant on the 30th anniversary special Dimensions in Time, which was specially made for Children in Need 1993, was a 2-day broadcast, and was written and produced by John Nathan Turner, of all people. The guy, of course, is responsible for producing such Doctor Who classics from the 80s as Black Orchid, which I reviewed for Classic Doctor Who Week on Who Addicts Reviews, if you might remember. Earthshock, which Owen Salmons reviewed that same week, Trial of a Time Lord, and Remembrance of the Daleks. Wow. Just wow. How low can you go? To be honest, I just believe he was playing into the hands of the BBC when they decided to come up with this bullshit idea of doing a charity crossover of the worlds of Doctor Who and EastEnders. You know, a full Doctor Who special set in Albert Square. And by the way, EastEnders, in my honest to God opinion, is hugely overrated. I don't so much hate that show. I rather just don't care about that show as much as I do Doctor Who. Now this was made at a time when Doctor Who had been on hiatus since the BBC first axed the series 4 years prior, back in 1989, and since then just loads and loads of people were just starting to perceive Doctor Who as being this, childish, silly, campy, over the top, pantomime-esque piece of whatever with fake-looking monsters and stuff like that. Sort of, like the Adam West Batman TV show almost. Whereas the show itself was really none of those things. None of those things. It had good stories, and it had good characters, and most of the all 7 actors that have played the Doctor fantastically brought their own personalities to the role rather perfectly. And this perception was just largely due to the way the BBC sort of messed it up during the late 80s. But during the late 80s, and based on the fact that the chairman at the time was Michael Grade, and he professed to never having been a Doctor Who fan in his life, didn't understand the show's appeal, so he just ran it to the ground with whatever shit he came up with. And if so, and just seriously, what was the point of actually making this to begin with? I mean, actually making this to begin with, other than to celebrate 30 years of this fantastic, awesome show. Not just a fantastic, awesome show, but a cultural TV landmark in Britain. Now, you know when I did my last review for Curse of Fatal Death, you know when I sort of foolishly, when I sort of questioned what the purpose of the Daleks was in that special, well, I've realised since then that I might have been a bit too overly critical on their appearance in that special, and I actually want to congratulate and apologise to Stephen Moffat for at least, having the balls to put the Daleks into Curse of Fatal Death, because of course why the Daleks were in that special was because Moffat knew what the fans wanted to see, and at least Curse of Fatal Death felt more like a Doctor, had more of a Doctor Who feel than I feel this bullcrap does. Fans wanted to see, but yet in this, a special story that is supposed to celebrate, 30 years of fantastic time-travelling adventures with the Doctor, Nathan Turner and the BBC, for some reason, they've lazily decided that they're just going to cram in as many monsters as they possibly could, like the Cybermen, Silurians, Ice Warriors, the Rani, played by Kato Mara, the Time Lords, etc., and yet decide to leave out the Doctor's oldest and deadliest enemies, the Daleks, push them to the side. What the fuck? Now, another thing, they managed to call back, Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, John Pertwee, before he died, and even Tom Baker to reprise their respective roles as the 5th, 6th, 7th, 3rd and 4th Doctors, alongside their respective companions, including Ace, played by Sophie Aldred, Susan Foreman, of course, played by Carol Ann Ford, the first ever companion, the Brigadier, played by the late great Nicholas Courtney, K9, voiced of course by John Leeson, Perry Brown, played by Nicola Bryant, and even Elizabeth Sladen, the late great Elizabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith, etc. But even though first and second Doctor actors, William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton, had already died at the time they were making this, were already diseased, they lazily decided to put in these horribly rendered face casts of both actors in a cameo or in this crap. I'm sorry, but if I was related to one or both of these actors, I would feel that this is an insult to their memory, and what you're doing is just fucking disgraceful and a slap to the face of lots and lots of Whovians around the world. I mean, no, I cannot talk about this thing in any great detail, but for a special that is designed to celebrate 30 years of a British TV icon, which is what Doctor Who is, Dimensions in Time stinks ass. The acting, I would have to admit, is at best okay, especially the EastEnders actors. I didn't mind their performances in this. But however, the story is lazy, the script is lazy, the effects are lazy, the music is lazy, the editing is lazy. Every single technical thing about it is lazy. Also, everything about it feels absolutely rushed as hell to benefit a running time of between 5 and 10 minutes worth of screen time. You know what? This just has to be one of the worst anniversary specials I've ever seen in my life, and I think you'll agree with me when I say that it is a true disgrace to such a truly phenomenal show, like Doctor Who. You know, even if it stands on its own 2 feet, I wouldn't even touch it with a flippin' barge pole. And you shouldn't either, if you are a true Doctor Who fan like myself. If I were to give it a rating, Dimensions in Time gets a 0 out of 10 rating from me. Utter 0. And I conclude with this. Fuck you, BBC at the time, for coming up with this pile of bullcrap idea. Fuck you, Michael Grade, for messing up the show's reputation after 1989 until the 1996 TV movie with Paul McGann turned up, courtesy of American film producers. Fuck you, John Nathan Turner, for agreeing to become the BBC's very own puppet and produce this thing. And ultimately, in true Doctor Who style for today, fuck this piece of Dalek scum off the TARDIS for good. Oh, and by the way, on a much lighter note, happy 50th birthday today, Doctor. We Whovians highly salute you, sir, and thank you so very much in letting us share your fantastical adventures throughout time and space with you over the last 50 years. And as they say, here's to the next 50 years. Now, feel free to comment below and let me know your opinions on Dimensions in Time. Plus, feel free to subscribe to my wibbly wobbly timey wimey channel. And until my next Doctor Who video, whatever it may be, do take care, everyone. Have a fantastic day today. And as the 10th Doctor would say, Allons-y!